Hello everyone, Elytra Storm here, and today we are going to be starting by saying thank you once again for helping me hit a milestone at 300 subscribers this time. As soon as I said thanks for 200, it seems like you guys just bolted in with more, so I'm so grateful. For those of you that do not know, I'm trying to reach 1000 as soon as possible so I can live stream again, as a few days after my best stream yet, YouTube added a rule that you need 1000 subs if you want to stream on mobile, which is what I have. So help me hit that big milestone, and let's continue. So today we're going to be doing another new What If series. This time it's What If Goku landed on Namek, which if you didn't know, has been done by my friend Plus Ultraman, who is not yet finished with it, as he's waiting for the Moro arc to conclude before he ends it. So as always, subscribe to Plus Ultraman, join my Discord, and follow me on Twitter. And now let's get into this What If. So how is this going to be starting? Well, to change this, I think we will have Bardock informed about Namek from past stories of other Saiyans being there passing by. He would be told that while their warriors were powerful, their race was naturally peaceful, and that's what gets him to send Kakarot there. He wants him to fulfill his possible destiny of surviving Frieza and hopefully taking him on himself, and the best way he sees to do that is to have him trained by strong warriors. With that, Bardock and Gine send Kakarot off, and that is where our What If starts. Now, just to keep things simple and not go exactly how Plus Ultraman's version did, we will say there is a small meteor shower heading near Namek, and one of them smacks the pod, causing the young boy to hit his head, wiping his memory. The pod lands near Lord Guru's home, and Nail is told to investigate. Nail opens the pod and looks at the small boy who is now sleeping, and brings him to Guru. Guru asks for Nail to gather the Dragon Balls so he may seek further insight on this peculiar boy. He can feel there is more to him than meets the eye. Nail flies along the villages and gathers the balls, and a swarm of Namekians trying to figure out why the Dragon Balls are even needed. Eventually, the guard brings all of them to Lord Guru, whose house is now surrounded by every Namekian on the planet, which is about 100. Guru summons forth Purunga and asks 3 questions. 1. What is this boy's name? Dragon simply tells him that his name is Kakarot. 2. What race is he? This one's pretty easy. The dragon tells him that he is a Saiyan. And 3. Why was he sent here? The dragon tells Guru that the Saiyan planet was under threat of the Emperor Frieza, and his parents seek refuge for their child. Guru thanks Purunga and he disappears, scattering the now stone balls everywhere. Guru now thinks he has all the knowledge he needs, and the boy wakes up from his nap. The Saiyan asks where he is and who these people are. Guru happily informs him that he is on planet Namek, where he will be living. Kakarot is shocked that a place like this is his home with this kind of people, and Guru asks a Namekian to show the boy around while he ponders his thoughts. Upon further thinking, he realizes that the Saiyans must have known of their kind nature, and knew that they had strong warriors, hoping that they would train him to rebel against the bringer of their demise, and decides that the boy has potential he shall unlock. After Kakarot is shown around Namek and treated to their plant food and water, he returns back to Guru's home, where he informs him that he will be trained as long as he helps around the planet by farming and just helping with natural things that may happen. The boy, still having his drive for battle, agrees to these terms, and over the course of 20 years is trained by the warrior Namekians, though not Nail, at least not yet. But first, the Namekian elder has a gift for Kakarot. He places his hand on his head and unlocks his potential, giving him higher strength. Now we know Gohan and Krillin got about a 5 times increase from the base unlock, based off Gohan's Masenko having a power level of 2,800 in the Saiyan Saga, and Gohan after the unlock had one of 14,000. Gohan likely got stronger whilst fighting Nappa, as Saiyans regularly do, and definitely got a Zenkai afterward, so it makes sense for him to be relevant to his previous blast when they get to Namek. So 14,000 divided by 2,800 is 5 times. On top of that, Krillin also fought with Nappa and would have been getting stronger, though not as much as Gohan, as sparring in Dragon Ball is a form of training, and fighting to the death could even be a better way, but we will leave it at that. On top of that, after he recovered, he was likely training during the wait to go to Namek, which, since he had a power level of 13,000 after the boost, that would bring him to 2,600 when on Namek. It was still relevant to Gohan. We know he can't be any weaker, as that would mean his base unlock would be higher than Gohan's, which would imply higher potential than Gohan's. Now, I'm not saying they have the same potential. I'm saying that they all get the same initial increase of 5 times and use their potential to go from there. Like how Gohan reached 200,000, whereas Krillin only reached 75,000, and their bases were rather similar at the beginning of the unlock after the full increase was complete. So hopefully you all understand what I mean. And we can go off Kakarot's power level of 2 in the Bardock special just as a base, and while it might not be relevant anymore, it's the best we have to go off of, I think. So we're just going to give it the base 5 times increase. Next we can go from Krillin and Gohan's entire boost, which would be 200,000 divided by 14,000, and 75,000 divided by 13,000, which when added up and divided by 2 for the average, would be about 10 times. So that means 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 10 is 100. So that's Kakarot's starting point for the next 20 years of training. So over the course of the 20 years between DB and Z, Goku grows up with Namekian tutelage, and is extremely tame and a lot more intelligent than originally. Now he's no Einstein, but he's definitely skilled in both life and fighting now, so that's a plus. So I know you're probably thinking, how strong is he? And all I've got to say is this took me about half an hour to calculate from the Dragon Ball perspective, and I think I came as close as I possibly could. So I think Goku's boost from training under King Kai for roughly 6 months or 158 days took that as a 20 times increase, as he goes from over 400 to over 8,000. I then divided it by 10 for the 10 times gravity, leaving just a 2 times multiplier every 6 months. Now I know King Kai's training isn't necessarily involved in Namek, but it was the only training method we saw Goku do that we got an actual boost based off the solid power level guides, besides gravity training. And I know people would say Goku would get a bigger boost as he isn't learning the Kaioken or Spirit Bomb here, but he does spend time learning Namekian techniques, and believe me, this full boost is actually going to more than make up for that. So since there are 12 months in a year, that would mean we multiply the 2 by 2 and get 4 times a year, which we multiply by 15 for the first 15 years he trains with the normal Namekian warriors with battle powers of 3,000. This makes 60 times. With that 60 times, he reaches a power level of 6,000, where he can now easily beat any Namekian in combat, besides Nail himself. Now, I believe there were 3 Namekians in the anime that had power levels of 10,000, but those may have only been anime only, and I don't want to count them and have to recalculate everything over again, factoring them in, so let's just say they don't exist, as I'm pretty sure they don't exist in the manga, but if they do, then, don't quote me. Moving on, because Kakarot is so much stronger than regular warriors, Nail has to finally get involved. Kakarot has been waiting for the day he was strong enough to spar with Nail, and Nail has been waiting for the day he could test Kakarot's potential. Now, in the last 5 years, Kakarot spars with Nail, and is out of commission a lot of the time due to Nail being so much more powerful. So now that Nail has a power level of 7 times Kakarot's, I feel like a 14 times boost to Kakarot's power is fitting, which puts him at 84,000, 2 times that of Nail. But Kakarot isn't the only one getting stronger through training, oh no. The Namekians who trained with him also get a bit of a boost as well, putting every Namekian warrior from 4,500 to 6,000, and Nail at 63,000 himself. Wouldn't increase as fast, as Kakarot, after surpassing them, would have moved on. So now that we've got his power level, let's talk Raditz. Raditz has been misinformed that Earth was the place Gine and Bardock were planning to send their son, as that would have been their first choice to do so. But they later switched it for Namek. Vegeta also wants to see the look on Raditz's face if it isn't the place Kakarot landed, as he doesn't know for sure. So Raditz heads off to Earth at the same time he did originally, and he finds a war zone. Now first, let's rewind all the way to when Goku first landed on Earth to find out what happens. And that doesn't happen. And I'm going to be telling you the story of what would have happened if Goku wasn't on Earth. So hopefully this answers all the people's questions who may ask, what if Goku died on planet Vegeta? This also answers a commenter by the name of Cameron Johnson Law on what if Yamcha was the main character. So there's that one for you as well. Thank you for the suggestion. Now here we go. So without Goku to kill him, Gohan lives up to when Bulma shows up looking for the 4-star ball. Gohan is much more willing to give the ball to Bulma, although he requires a bit of a peek. Bulma continues on her journey and isn't killed by the pterodactyl, as she wouldn't have wasted time fighting Goku, arguing with Goku, or talking to Goku, or crashing a car. She continues and fights Turtle being attacked by a bear thief. She doesn't stop the bear, and he uses a submarine to go to Kame House for the next ball. Roshi gives it to her after a peek at her panties, which are still on because no Goku to take them off, and he asks if she has seen his turtle anywhere, as he has not returned in a while. Bulma says yes, and to her surprise, Roshi goes with her to find him. By the time they find the bear, Turtle is already dead, and Roshi vaporizes the bear with a Kamehameha wave that shocks Bulma. Bulma takes the ball and continues to the village Oolong was terrorizing. She offers to marry him until she gets close and just punches and kicks him a ton, which makes sense that she can hurt him a lot, as she does when watching tournaments in the original show. She casts a spell on him, and he joins the group with another ball added. From there, the gang sets off to Fire Mountain, where they meet Yamcha along the way, who gets scared of Bulma and is frozen in place, falling to the ground. When Bulma walks by, he notices a shiny object in her satchel and decides to follow them in his own car. They make it to Fire Mountain and confront the Ox King, who is about ready to kill Bulma, when Yamcha raises up his arm and barely blocks a punch from him. The Ox King stops fighting and tells him that he has a very noble heart, as with his power being under the king's, he didn't know if he could win or not, but he still tried for the sake of the girl. Ox King tells them about the mountain literally being on fire, so there was no way to get the Dragon Ball. Bulma has an idea and brings Yamcha, Oolong, and Puar to find Roshi. Now, to get there and back, that would take at least 3 days, as they don't have the Flying Nimbus, but Yamcha gets to spend a whole time with Roshi, who promotes the idea of him coming to train with him sometime. The gang gets Roshi, who pulls out a Kamehameha and blows away the entire mountain. But just as Bulma goes to grab the ball, the Pilaf gang grabs it. They were able to locate this ball using their dragon radar, and they waited on top of another mountain as they could sense Bulma having all 5 of the other balls that they needed, moving toward the location of that ball, as they already have 1, and now 2. Shu draws his sword, and Mai her gun, and they aim both of them at Bulma, telling her to give up the ball. Yamcha tells Puar and Oolong to transform into snakes so they will get scared and he can take them out, which happens. He kicks them all in the face and catches the ball in each hand. But when Bulma comes to hug him, that is when he drops them. They now have all 7 balls without even going through a big chunk of the arc. And after this is finished, Yamcha goes to train with Roshi and Krillin, while Bulma spends her time bouncing back and forth from Capsule Corp to Kame House. This allows Yamcha and Krillin to be a bit stronger, but the tournament still ends up with Jackie Chun winning. The Red Ribbon Army saga does not happen, and Goku isn't there to try to find the 4-star ball. Because of this, Red Ribbon Army wish for Commander Red to be taller, and the army just becomes a force of protection for Earth. Yamcha and Krillin both continue to train on Kame House over the next 3 years and prepare for the tournament. Yamcha loses to Ten Shinhan, and Krillin beats Pamphlet, who would have won against a random guy rather than Goku, and Ten Shinhan beats Krillin in the final match. Ten Shinhan isn't as swayed into good as he was originally, due to Krillin being who he's facing, who isn't as formidable of a foe of Goku. Now, because there is no Power Pole or 4-star ball for Goku to forget, or Goku period, Krillin stays in the building with the rest of the crew, and Tambourine has to rush in there instead. Tambourine figures that he can't beat them all, but as long as he kills one, his job is done. He does kill one, the weakest one, Chaozu, who is defending Ten Shinhan from an attack from him. But from there, Ten Shinhan Doden raises his chest, and Yamcha comes up from behind him with a Kamehameha, killing him. Chaozu is killed, which makes Ten Shinhan furious, but he is told of the Dragon Balls, which gives him hope, and Roshi, Krillin, and him all set off. Roshi is killed when he tries to use the Mafuba, and Krillin is killed trying to make the wish. Ten Shinhan trains to learn the Mafuba, but is killed by King Piccolo and his son Drum. Now you might say Kami would do something about this, but I disagree for a few reasons. One, we don't know if he did anything to stop King Piccolo when he was ruling Earth the first time, and 2, Kami can't fight against Piccolo, as he is far too old and weak, and Popo is a pacifist. Plus, if he brought the dragon back, he would have to find all the Dragon Balls himself or with Popo, and King Piccolo does not want any threats, such as them. Yamcha and Bulma live on Kame House for the remainder of their lives. After recovering, Yamcha goes to the Crane School and finds Mercenary Tao, who wasn't killed by Goku this time, and Master Shen, who are fighting against the son of King Piccolo's. Yamcha watches them defeat him and tells Shen that he has to help them, but Shen refuses, saying that the turtles and cranes are rivals. But Yamcha tells him that at this point, there is no turtle or crane school. It's people defending their homes, Earth. He tells him that all of the turtles besides him were killed, and so were all of the cranes. Shen is shocked that his best students are killed, but he sighs and tells him the story of Mutaito and how their schools used to be one and the same. The three then head to Kame House after some agreeing, where more of Piccolo's children are sent. But Bulma uses her shrink ray and shrinks all of them to where none of them can see the gang, who are assumed either dead or have moved to another location. From that point, Yamcha, Tao, and Shen all train together and go out defending cities from Piccolo's sons, gathering several recruits along the way. Some of them are just max power humans with no ki control, but some of them have tapped into their ki, so their ranks consist of power levels of 7 to about 50. Over the next 8 years, the three masters train and reach their power levels just above 200 each. At this point, Yamcha and Bulma have had a child, who Yamcha sees as their beacon of hope for the future, much like how future Gohan saw Trunks. He also sees him as a failsafe just in case he fails. Just in case this generation fails, he can start up the next generation. However, now it was time for war. King Piccolo had gotten tired of not destroying enough cities throughout this time, and has decided to go with all his forces to one large city where the three masters and their forces are as well, ready to defend. This is a pretty close war, as the three are stronger than any of Piccolo's forces. But Raditz arrives later into the war, and realizes Kakarot is not there. He decides that he will just scrap this planet anyway, as any work added to his name might result in some respect to the Frieza Force, and maybe a promotion. I'm justifying his actions because I know someone would have said Raditz wouldn't have wrecked Earth and just left it if Goku was not there. So there you go. Raditz goes through every warrior on both sides, and eventually finds King Piccolo, Yamcha, Tao, and Shen all fighting. The three are doing really well against the demon, but Raditz arrives and blasts Tao straight through the chest, and Yamcha takes this opportunity to rush after the king while Shen is angered and Dodon rays Raditz repeatedly, but none of them do any damage. Raditz attacks him with punches, but Shen dodges repeatedly, until he noticed Raditz didn't punch one time. And then his throat is grabbed and he is blasted into the ground, dead. The Saiyan rushes after the king and tears off his arm, grabbing his other and blasting him directly where his demon symbol is, killing him as well. But before he does, he spits out an egg, but Raditz blasts it without even looking behind him. Yamcha sees this man. He knows he has no hope of victory, but he tries his absolute hardest and ends up on his knees. He looks Raditz in the face and begs him not to kill him. The two lock eyes, and Yamcha sees all of his failures. Jackie Chun, Ten Shinhan, and then he sees Bulma and their child. But finally, he sees nothing. The remainder of their warriors from both sides rush Raditz, working together, but Raditz simply flies into the air and double Sundays the entire ground, killing them all. With this, Raditz dusts the rest of Earth's life and calls Vegeta, telling him Kakarot wasn't on Earth, and Vegeta replies that he might be on Namek, as that was the second bet. And Raditz flies off in his pod to the next planet. So, what do you guys think of this what if? Did you like it? Should I continue? Tell me in the comments, and I hope you enjoy. But as always, tell me if you liked this part. Tell me what you think will happen next. Comment down below your requests for future videos, and like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.